Archangel Michael says, "This message is not given lightly, for the heavens are filled with urgency and the love of Christ is reaching toward you in a way that cannot be ignored, because the heart of Jesus longs for you alone." And in this moment his voice rises with a pleading that is wrapped in tenderness yet carries a weight so heavy that it shakes the quiet of eternity, reminding you that tonight is not like other nights, for it holds within it a divine turning point that can either bring healing and comfort into your soul or leave you burdened with sorrow beyond what you can bear. Type 333 to welcome blessings. The love of Jesus is not distant or hidden behind the clouds of heaven, it is near and alive, surrounding you in every breath you take, and when he bends toward you with such urgency, it is because he does not want to see even a single tear fall from your eyes without his arms ready to hold you, for his heart is too gentle to let you walk alone into the shadows of despair, and that is why this message is carried with such seriousness, because his love is more precious than gold and his care for you is deeper than the oceans. Every moment of your life has been watched with tender eyes that never grow weary, and every wound you carry has been felt within his own spirit, for when you were broken and silent he was whispering comfort into the hidden corners of your soul, and when you thought nobody understood your pain, he was standing near, tracing the outline of your tears as though they were jewels, and now he is asking you not to turn away. Not to let this holy invitation pass you by, because this moment carries the power to change the story of your heart forever. Subscribe to this channel if God's grace has saved you. The heavens themselves seem to pause in stillness when the cry of Christ is heard, for angels bow low in awe at the depth of his longing for you, and they know that no treasure, no victory, no crown of glory can compare with the joy he feels when one soul chooses to stay close to him, for you are not one among many, you are his beloved, the one he holds in his gaze with a love that refuses to fade. And this is why the message burns with such urgency, because tonight your heart is being called into a place of safety where his arms will never let you go. Type 777 if you walk by faith. If you could see the unseen, you would know that light surrounds you even when the night feels heavy, and though the voices of fear may rise like waves trying to crush your peace, the voice of Jesus is softer yet stronger, telling you that you are not forgotten and you are not lost, for he has walked into the fire of sorrow before you. And he has left a path of mercy and healing so that when you step forward in faith you do not step into emptiness but into arms that have been waiting to carry you. The reason this warning feels heavy is because love itself is heavy when it carries such a depth of longing, for Christ is not calling you with empty words, he is calling you with his life, with the wounds in his hands that still shine with proof of his devotion, and when he whispers that you must not turn away, it is not to burden you with fear but to shield you from pain that could steal your joy, because he knows how fragile the heart can be when it faces trials without his presence. Stay until the last word, for this message carries a blessing meant for you alone. There are seasons when the night seems longer than the day, when hope feels hidden beneath layers of silence, and it is in those times that his voice comes like a gentle fire, reminding you that you do not have to face the darkness without his hand leading you, and even if the world has pressed upon you with heavy weight, the love of Jesus is stronger than every sorrow, and when you open your heart to him, even the bitterest pain begins to soften into something that carries peace, for he has the power to turn your tears into seeds of hope that will bloom in time. You may not see how deeply he is fighting for you, but heaven sees it clearly, for angels move at his command to surround you with unseen strength, and they know that your life is too precious to be left vulnerable to despair, so they stand as guardians at your side, keeping you in ways you cannot imagine, and their presence is proof of how seriously heaven takes your life, for you are not a shadow passing through time. You are a soul marked with eternal worth, and Jesus will not rest until you are safely within the embrace of his love. Archangel Michael brings this message with weight because the hour is filled with both danger and opportunity, for the enemy of your soul would like nothing more than to see you collapse beneath the weight of fear, yet the hand of Christ is extended to lift you higher than the shadows, and if you choose his hand tonight, you will find yourself carried into a peace that no storm can take away, because his promise is not fragile, it is unbreakable, and when he says he will keep you, he means it. With every fiber of his being. Type yes to affirm. The story of your life is not yet finished, and though tonight feels urgent, it is not meant to break you but to awaken you to the truth that you are loved beyond measure, and that the love of Jesus is not a faraway comfort but a present reality that longs to heal your soul, and if you open your heart to him now, you will discover that the sorrow which threatened to drown you will instead become the very place where his presence shines most brightly, turning your grief into a testimony of his unending care. Archangel Michael says, "The voice of heaven does not come with emptiness but with a weight of love that has been carried through eternity, and tonight it reaches into the very depths of your heart because the Lord Jesus cannot bear to see you walk through the shadows without knowing the strength of his presence, and so he bends toward you, holding out his hand with a seriousness that is filled with compassion, calling you not to turn away, for within his embrace there is life, hope, and healing that nothing on earth can compare to." There are moments in every life when the path feels too heavy to walk, when burdens press so deeply that even the strongest resolve begins to tremble, and it is in those moments that the gentle voice of Christ becomes the anchor that saves the soul, because his words are not fragile or fleeting, they are eternal, born from a love that has already endured pain greater than any you will ever face, and that is why his call tonight is so urgent, for he longs to keep you safe within the shelter of his heart. When storms rise and winds of fear shake the foundations of peace, the human spirit often feels abandoned, yet the truth is that Jesus has never left, not even for a breath, for every heartbeat has been cradled in his care, and though the world may pull you toward despair, his love is strong enough to lift you into light, and when he pleads for your attention, it is not out of anger but out of the tenderness of a shepherd who refuses to let even one sheep wander into danger. If you close your eyes and listen with the stillness of your soul, you will sense the nearness of his presence like a soft light breaking through darkness, and in that light every fear loses its strength, every wound begins to soften, and every sorrow begins to release its grip, for his love is not only a promise spoken long ago, it is a living stream flowing even now, reaching into the places where you thought healing could never come, and transforming them into testimonies of grace that will shine for eternity. The angels of heaven stand close in this moment, their wings folded in reverence as they watch the Lord's love move toward you, and they know that this is not a small moment but a sacred one, for the King of Heaven is whispering your name with such care that even the stars seem to pause in wonder, because out of all the beauty in creation, his eyes are set upon you, and his longing is for you alone to know how deeply you are treasured. There is no place too hidden for his love to reach, no pain too sharp for his touch to comfort, and no failure too heavy for his mercy to cover, because his love is not measured by your strength but by his sacrifice, and the cross remains the everlasting proof that he would rather carry suffering himself than allow you to be crushed beneath its weight. And so when this message comes with urgency, it is because the one who already gave everything refuses to let you walk without knowing that he has more healing to give. Type 555 to receive miracles. You may have thought that your tears were unseen, that your cries were lost in silence, but every tear has been collected in the heart of Christ, every sigh has been heard by the ears of heaven, and every ache has been felt by the one who cannot turn away from you, for you are not forgotten, not overlooked, not abandoned, and tonight is a holy reminder that you are held in a love that cannot be broken, no matter how deep the night around you may seem. The Spirit of God is breathing peace over you even now, and though the enemy would seek to cover you with fear, the truth of heaven is stronger, for the voice of Christ is steady and unshaken, reminding you that your future is not one of endless sorrow but of restoration, and that even in the darkest valleys, his hand is guiding you toward light, because the power of his love is not bound by the limits of time or the weight of pain. It is eternal and unending. Archangel Michael carries this message not as a threat but as a shield, for the seriousness of heaven is born from love, not fear, and the warning that echoes through this night is not meant to break you but to awaken you, because the Lord Jesus is begging for your heart not to walk away, not to close itself to his embrace, for he knows the dangers that wait without him, and he desires only to cover you with safety, to fill you with comfort, and to guide you into a life where peace flows like a river that cannot run dry. So let this moment settle into your spirit as a promise, that even though tonight feels urgent and the words are heavy, it is because heaven itself is leaning close to protect you, and if you step into the love of Christ now, you will find that the sorrow which threatened to consume you will become the very place where his glory is revealed, and your story will not end in despair but in light. For his love is too powerful to let you remain in the shadows when his arms are open wide to hold you. Archangel Michael says, "The heavens are trembling with the weight of this message, for the voice of Jesus is rising like a gentle yet unstoppable tide, calling out to your heart with such intensity that even the angels pause to listen, and his cry is not one of distant command but of tender longing, because you are the one he has chosen, the one he is pleading for, the one he cannot allow to be lost in the storms of this night. For his love is too deep to watch you drift into sorrow without reaching out to hold you close. There are unseen battles being fought for your peace, wars in the spiritual realm where darkness presses hard against the light, and yet through it all the presence of Jesus surrounds you with a shield stronger than steel, a covering of mercy that no enemy can pierce, and that is why the call tonight carries urgency, for there is danger in turning away, but there is greater safety in surrendering to his love. And the moment you open your heart to him, the chains of fear begin to break and the weight of despair begins to lift. Type 2323 if you trust in God. When life presses against you with burdens that feel unbearable, the temptation is to believe that you must carry it alone, but Christ never intended for your shoulders to bear such weight, for his own arms were stretched wide in sacrifice to prove that he would take the heaviest pain so that you could rest in freedom, and his heart cannot bear to see you struggle beneath the crushing load when he has already prepared a place of comfort and renewal. And so he pleads tonight, not out of anger but out of love that refuses to let you walk in weakness without his strength. The earth may try to tell you that your worth is measured by success, by acceptance, or by what others see, but the truth of heaven declares that your worth has already been sealed by the blood of Christ, for you are not a mistake drifting through time, you are a chosen vessel of his love, and he sees beauty in you that no shadow can erase. So when this urgent call reaches you, it is a reminder that nothing in this world has the power to strip away the value he has placed on your soul, because you belong to him in ways too deep to be undone. Imagine for a moment the tenderness of Jesus as he looks upon you, not with condemnation but with the gaze of one who has loved you since before you breathed your first breath, and in that gaze is the fire of devotion that will never fade, a fire that burns with the desire to lift you into peace and to shield you from harm. And tonight his eyes are fixed upon you with such seriousness that the heavens themselves bow in awe, because he is not content to let this moment pass without drawing you into the safety of his embrace. The angels know that your heart is a treasure too precious to be left unguarded, and they move with swiftness to surround you in protection, carrying the presence of heaven into the places where you feel most fragile, and though you may not see them with your eyes, their nearness is a reflection of how seriously God holds your life, for you are not forgotten in the noise of creation, you are singled out by the love of Christ, and his yearning for you tonight is proof that the heavens will not rest until your heart rests safely in him. Every wound, every disappointment, every hidden scar has been carried into the heart of Jesus, and though the world may have overlooked your pain, he has never turned away from it, for he feels every ache as though it were his own, and he longs to heal you in ways that reach deeper than words can describe, and that is why the warning comes with urgency, because he knows the weight you bear, and he knows that only his love can lift it, transform it, and turn it into something that brings beauty from brokenness. This night is unlike others, because the Spirit of God is moving with intention, reaching for you with arms wide and heart open, and the seriousness of the moment is not meant to fill you with fear but with awareness that heaven is leaning close, that Jesus is speaking with tears in his voice, begging you not to turn away, not to harden your heart, for he wants to wrap you in comfort that will steady your soul, giving you courage for tomorrow and peace for today, because his love is not just eternal, it is present, alive, and waiting now. Type 1212 if you know God is guiding your steps. Archangel Michael carries this word with a fire that cannot be silenced, for he knows that the darkness would like to steal your hope, to crush your joy, to convince you that you are alone, but the truth is stronger, the love of Jesus is brighter, and his mercy is deeper, and when you open yourself to him in this moment, you will find that the sorrow which once seemed unbearable will be replaced with a peace that floods your being, a calm that cannot be stolen, and a strength that carries you through every storm. So let these words rest in your spirit like a holy seed, planted not by chance but by divine purpose, for tonight is not about despair but about awakening, and if you let the love of Jesus take root within you, you will see your life unfold in ways more beautiful than you imagined, because his love will never stop fighting for you, never stop reaching for you, and never stop calling you back into the light of his heart, where you are safe, you are loved, and you are forever held. Archangel Michael says, The voice of Christ rises tonight with a seriousness that is heavy with love, for his heart cannot bear the thought of you walking into pain without his hand holding yours, and so he calls you with urgency, not to frighten you but to awaken you, because your soul is too precious to be left unguarded, and his longing for you is greater than the vastness of the sky, greater than the endless waves of the sea, and greater than the sorrow that has tried to weigh you down. There are times in life when shadows grow thick, when the path feels uncertain and the heart feels weary, and it is in those moments that the voice of Jesus becomes a light brighter than any darkness, a voice that does not command in harshness but invites with compassion, saying that you are not alone, that your tears are not wasted, and that every hidden cry has been heard by the one who has never turned his gaze away from you, even for a single moment, for his love is unshaken and his mercy is without end. The heavens are not silent tonight, they are alive with movement, for angels are carrying this message into your spirit with gentleness, surrounding you with a covering that cannot be broken, and though unseen, their presence is real, their strength is sure, and their wings are spread wide to guard you from harm, because the seriousness of this moment is not about punishment but about protection. And God's love is moving swiftly to keep you safe from the pain that would otherwise overwhelm you. Jesus is not standing far away watching from a distance, he is near, closer than your very breath, and the longing in his heart for you is so strong that he bends low to meet you where you are, no matter how broken or weary you may feel, and in his nearness, there is healing that seeps into every wound, comfort that flows into every sorrow, and peace that stretches into every fear, so that the heaviness pressing upon you can no longer hold you captive, because his love is stronger than any chain and gentler than any embrace you have ever known. Think of the way he carries your name with reverence, as though it were written in light upon his heart, and how every choice he has made since the beginning of time has been shaped by the desire to bring you into his arms, for you are not a fleeting thought to him, you are the center of his devotion, and when he pleads for you tonight, it is because he refuses to let the storms of life steal away the treasure he sees within you, a treasure that he has chosen, cherished, and marked for eternity. Type, I love God, to claim abundance through God's love. The warning that echoes through this night is not meant to fill you with dread but with clarity, for the path without him is filled with dangers unseen, yet the path with him is filled with a light that never fades, and when he asks you to stay close, it is because he has already gone before you, clearing the way, fighting the battles, and bearing the wounds, so that you might walk in freedom and peace. And this invitation is given not out of duty but out of the burning fire of a love that cannot be extinguished. You may feel the weight of past mistakes pressing heavily upon your soul, but the truth of Christ's love is that nothing you have done can push him away, for his mercy is not fragile and his forgiveness is not small, it is wide as the heavens and deep as the oceans, and when he looks at you, he does not see shame, he sees the one he has chosen, the one he longs to heal, and the one he cannot let slip into despair, because his love is too strong to let the story of your life end in sorrow. The Spirit of God is hovering near, tenderly moving over the hidden places of your heart, stirring peace where there was fear, planting hope where there was despair, and breathing life where there was weariness, and though you may not see it with your eyes, your spirit feels it, the quiet whisper of heaven telling you that you are loved beyond words, and that tonight is a turning point. A holy moment in which the voice of Jesus calls you by name and asks you not to turn away, but to let yourself be carried into his embrace. Archangel Michael brings this message with strength because he knows how serious this hour is, for the forces of darkness are pressing hard, trying to convince you that you are alone, but the truth is louder, brighter, and stronger, for Jesus has never left your side, and his angels stand guard around you, and together they declare that you are not forsaken, not forgotten, not unloved, but treasured with a devotion that has no end. And tonight that truth is being spoken into your heart so deeply that it will never leave you. So let this moment be the beginning of renewal. Let it be the hour when sorrow begins to loosen its grip and peace begins to rise like the dawn, because the Lord Jesus has spoken over you, and his words are filled with life, and when you open your heart to him, even the darkest night becomes filled with light, and the heaviness you once carried becomes a testimony of his faithfulness, for his love is not just a promise for eternity, it is a reality for this very moment, and it will carry you into tomorrow with strength, comfort, and unshakable hope. Archangel Michael says, "The heavens lean close with great tenderness, for the cry of Jesus is rising with a depth of love that cannot be measured, and his voice is reaching toward you with urgency because he cannot bear the thought of you walking through this night without knowing the safety of his arms, for his heart is too gentle and his devotion too strong to allow you to be left unprotected in a world where shadows try to steal your peace." The urgency of this moment is born not from fear but from the boundless care of a Savior who has always seen you, who has always known the depths of your struggles, and who has never once turned his gaze away, even in the times when you thought you were forgotten, because to him you are not a passing thought, you are his beloved, the one he carries in his heart with more value than the entire universe, and that is why he is pleading now, begging for your heart to open, because he longs to heal every wound and replace every sorrow with his everlasting comfort. Type 1111 if you believe heaven is listening. There are seasons of life when storms roar louder than hope, when the weight of trials presses down so heavily that even the strongest will begin to falter, yet it is in those very seasons that the presence of Jesus becomes the anchor that cannot be moved, for his love does not weaken when the winds rise, and his mercy does not fade when the night grows darker. Instead it becomes brighter, stronger, and more determined, wrapping around you like a shield that cannot break, and this is why the heavens are speaking tonight with such intensity, because your heart is being called into a refuge that no storm can touch. Imagine his hands, scarred with love, reaching for you now, not with judgment but with compassion, and in those hands is the promise of peace that has carried countless souls into safety, for he is the one who takes the broken and restores them, the weary and gives them rest, the lost and leads them home, and tonight his hands are extended toward you, waiting only for your trust, because his desire is not to condemn but to comfort, not to wound but to heal, and not to leave you but to draw you forever closer. The angels who surround his throne are not idle tonight, for they have been sent to watch over you, to shield you from harm, and to carry this holy message into the depths of your spirit, and though unseen by your eyes, they stand near with strength beyond measure, because heaven knows how precious you are, and it will not allow you to walk unguarded, for your life is of eternal worth, and Jesus will not allow the enemy to steal what he treasures so dearly, which is why his voice trembles with such longing, urging you to remain close to Him. Every tear that has fallen from your eyes has been gathered by His love, not one has been lost or ignored, for He has felt every ache, every disappointment, every unspoken cry, and He has carried it within His heart as though it were His own, and now He whispers that you do not need to carry it alone anymore, because His love is ready to lift it from you, to transform it into peace, and to fill your soul with a healing that runs deeper than words can describe, and this invitation is being given to you tonight with a seriousness that reflects how much He longs to see you free. The warning that carries through this night is not meant to break your spirit but to awaken it, because Jesus knows that without Him the weight of life can crush you, but with Him even the heaviest burdens become light, and when He says not to turn away, it is because He has already walked ahead of you, clearing the path, carrying the weight, and leaving behind steps of mercy so that you can follow without fear. And this love is not distant. It is near, surrounding you now like a fire of tenderness that cannot be quenched. Your life is not an accident, it is a story written with care, a story that heaven has watched unfold with patience and love, and every chapter, even the painful ones, is seen by Jesus as a part of the journey that can be transformed into beauty. And though you may think your story has been marked by too much sorrow, the truth is that His hands are skilled at turning ashes into glory. And tonight He is reminding you that the ending of your story is not despair but redemption, for His love has already secured the promise of peace that will carry you into eternity. Archangel Michael brings this message with the fire of heaven because he knows the danger of ignoring it, for the darkness would try to convince you that you are forgotten, that you are alone, that your pain will never end, but the truth of Christ burns brighter than any lie, declaring that you are loved with an everlasting love, that your life matters beyond measure, and that His arms are stretched wide to receive you. Not in anger but in tenderness, longing only to cover you in safety and fill you with unshakable hope. Type 1010 to affirm that God's timing is perfect. So let this moment sink deeply into your heart, for tonight is not about fear but about awakening to the reality of love that has no limit, and if you allow the presence of Jesus to surround you, you will find that every sorrow begins to loosen, every fear begins to quiet, and every wound begins to heal, because His love is stronger than the shadows, His mercy is greater than your pain, and His promise is eternal, unshakable, and alive, waiting to hold you through this night and carry you into the light of a new tomorrow. Archangel Michael says, "The heavens are stirred with compassion, and the cry of Jesus carries through this night with a power that is both tender and unshakable, for His voice is reaching directly into your spirit, filled with longing and urgency, because His heart cannot allow you to walk one more step without knowing the depth of His care. And the seriousness of this message is not born from fear but from a love so wide and deep that it refuses to let you be overcome by the shadows surrounding you. Every moment of your life has been seen by His eyes, every tear has been noticed, every unspoken sorrow has been felt within His spirit, and though the world may have overlooked the pain you have carried, Jesus has never been blind to it, for He has held your wounds as if they were His own, and tonight His voice rises with intensity because He longs to trade your heaviness for His peace, your despair for His hope, and your loneliness for His everlasting presence, and this call is not something you can ignore without cost, for it is the turning point of your soul. There are battles raging that you cannot see, struggles between light and darkness that are fought over your destiny, and though the enemy would try to convince you that you are abandoned and defenseless, the truth is that the love of Christ has already placed a shield around you, and his angels stand ready, strong and unwavering, to cover you from harm, because heaven has declared that your life is too precious to be lost. And this message is being carried to you now with urgency because Jesus cannot stand to see you walk into danger without the safety of his embrace. Think of how he leans toward you now, not with condemnation but with yearning, the yearning of one who has carried every burden on his shoulders so that you would not be crushed beneath them, and in his hands, scarred with love, rests the proof that you have always been worth everything to him, for he chose the path of suffering so that you could walk in freedom, and this is why his cry tonight is so serious. Because he cannot bear to let you carry alone what he has already borne for you, and he longs for you to step into the fullness of his mercy. The angels who surround his throne are filled with awe when they see the depth of his love for you, for they know that no crown, no kingdom, no glory compares to the joy he feels when your heart turns toward him, and they bow low in reverence as he calls your name with such devotion that even eternity cannot contain it. And this is why this message comes with fire, because the heavens know that your life holds immeasurable worth, and the Lord himself is unwilling to let you walk unprotected through the weight of this night. The pain you carry may feel like a mountain too heavy to move, yet in the hands of Jesus, even the heaviest sorrow can be lifted, transformed, and turned into a testimony of hope, for his love is not fragile, it does not weaken beneath the weight of suffering, but grows stronger in the face of it, and when you allow him to enter your pain, he does not stand as a distant comfort but as a present healer, filling the broken places with peace, and the urgency of his call tonight is a holy reminder that you no longer need to suffer in silence, for his mercy is waiting to embrace you fully. Type 999 if you trust Jesus with all your heart. The world may tell you that your value is determined by success, acceptance, or the approval of others, but the truth of heaven declares something greater, for your worth was sealed by his sacrifice long before you breathed your first breath, and when he looks at you, he does not see failures or flaws, he sees the one he treasures, the one he has chosen, the one he refuses to abandon. And the seriousness of this moment reflects the greatness of his love, because he longs for you to finally believe that nothing can separate you from his care. If you close your eyes in stillness, you can almost feel the nearness of his presence, like light gently breaking through the darkness, and in that light every fear loses strength, every sorrow begins to loosen, and every wound begins to heal, for his voice is whispering peace over you even now, promising that you are not forgotten, not forsaken, and not unloved. And the urgency you feel pressing upon your spirit is simply the sound of heaven calling you home, into the arms of the one who has never stopped fighting for you. Archangel Michael delivers this message with unshaken strength because the heavens know how serious this hour is, for there are choices that shape destiny and paths that lead either to despair or to safety, and Jesus is begging you not to turn away, not to close your heart, because his love is the only refuge strong enough to protect you, and his mercy is the only healing deep enough to restore you. And he will not rest until your soul is safe within his embrace, where no shadow can steal your peace. So let this moment become holy within you, Let it mark the turning point where fear begins to loosen its grip and hope begins to rise like dawn, for the Lord Jesus is not only offering comfort for tonight, He is offering life for eternity, and when you surrender your heart to Him, you will find that His love is more than words, it is power, it is healing, and it is the unshakable truth that will carry you forward, no matter how dark the world may become, for His arms are strong enough to hold you forever. Archangel Michael says, "The voice of Jesus is flowing like a river through the silence of this night, and it carries a power so tender and yet so commanding that nothing in heaven or on earth can resist its pull, for He is reaching directly into your heart with a plea filled not with anger but with love so profound that it trembles with urgency, because He sees what lies ahead, and His longing is to shield you, to guard you, and to keep you wrapped within His mercy so that no sorrow will be able to break you. Every sigh that has escaped from the depths of your soul has been gathered by His care, and not one moment of your pain has been ignored, for He has walked beside you in silence when you thought you were alone, and He has carried the weight of your grief in His own Spirit, and tonight His cry comes with such seriousness because He wants you to understand that you are never abandoned, never left unseen. For your life is a treasure too precious to be hidden in shadows, and He is calling you into the safety of His embrace with a love that will never fail. Type 2222 to open the door to new blessings. The battles that swirl in unseen realms are fierce, for darkness presses hard to convince you that you are forgotten. Yet the armies of heaven stand unshaken around you, their wings stretched wide in protection, their voices singing truth over your spirit, because heaven has declared that your life belongs to Christ, and nothing will steal you away while His angels remain near. And this message is carried to you tonight not as a whisper of fear but as a roar of love, reminding you that you are chosen, beloved, and forever held. The heart of Jesus is leaning toward you, and within His gaze is a fire that cannot be extinguished, a devotion so personal that it speaks directly into your deepest wounds, for He does not see you through the lens of failure or weakness. He sees you as His child, His beloved, His treasure, and when He begs you not to turn away, it is because He knows the dangers of a path without Him, and He longs to cover you with safety, to fill you with peace, and to lead you into a future where His presence will never leave your side. Every scar you carry, every disappointment that has weighed upon you, and every moment where you felt crushed beneath the weight of life has been noticed by Him, and rather than looking upon you with judgment, He reaches to cover you with healing, for His hands, scarred with love, have already borne the weight of suffering so that you would not be consumed by it, and when His voice trembles with urgency tonight, it is because He wants you to know that you no longer need to bear these burdens alone, for His mercy is enough to hold them all. The angels know the value of your soul, and they bow in reverence as the Lord speaks your name, for no star in the heavens shines brighter in His eyes than the light of your spirit, and they marvel at the intensity of His longing for you, because it is not a passing affection but an eternal love that refuses to fade, and tonight that love moves with swiftness, breaking through every barrier, tearing down every wall, so that you might feel the fullness of His presence wrapping around you like a covering of peace that cannot be broken. The urgency of this message is holy, for it carries the weight of eternity within it, and though the night feels heavy and the warning is serious, it is not meant to bring despair but to awaken you to the truth that you are not forgotten, that your life is not meaningless, and that your story has been written with love upon the pages of heaven, and every moment has been guided by His hand, even when you could not see it. And now He pleads with you to stay close, for His love is the only anchor strong enough to hold you. If you listen with the stillness of your soul, you can feel the nearness of His presence pressing close, like a gentle light breaking through heavy clouds, and in that light there is a peace that softens your pain, a comfort that steadies your heart, and a strength that lifts you above the weight of despair, for His voice is speaking into you now, declaring that you are loved, that you are chosen, and that you are safe. And the seriousness of this moment is simply the reflection of how deeply He longs to keep you in His arms. Archangel Michael delivers this word with the fire of heaven because he knows the power of Christ's love and the danger of ignoring it, for the shadows of this world are real, but the love of Jesus is stronger, brighter, and more eternal, and when you open your heart to Him tonight, you will find that the sorrow that threatened to drown you will begin to fade, replaced by a river of peace that flows endlessly, carrying you into hope, into safety, and into the embrace of the One who has always longed to hold you close. Type 2020 to embrace joy and strength in Christ. So let these words settle deeply into your being, for this night is not about fear but about awakening, and if you allow the presence of Jesus to surround you, you will discover that every burden begins to lighten, every wound begins to heal, and every shadow begins to lose its strength, because His love is greater than your pain, His mercy is stronger than your fear, and His promise is eternal, covering you in a shelter that cannot fail, for He is with you now and He will be with you forever. Archangel Michael says, "The heavens are moving with urgency, and the voice of Jesus is pouring into this night with such intensity that it reaches the very core of your being, for His longing is too deep to be silenced, and His cry for you is too strong to be ignored, because He cannot watch you carry the weight of sorrow without His arms to hold you. And He cannot bear to see you step into the darkness when His light is burning with the power to guide you safely through. Every hidden ache within you has been felt in His Spirit, every unspoken cry has echoed in His heart, and every silent moment where you believed you were forgotten has been marked by His nearness, for He has never left your side, not for a moment. And tonight His voice is trembling with urgency because He knows the dangers that press against you, and He wants you to know that His presence is stronger than every shadow. His love is wider than every wound, and His mercy is deeper than every grief you have carried. The angels who stand in His presence are not quiet tonight, for they move with the swiftness of heaven to surround you, their wings a shield of protection, their presence a testimony that your life is worth more than you can ever understand, and though unseen by your eyes, they are closer than you know, guarding you with strength that no darkness can overcome. Because the seriousness of this message is not about fear but about the truth that you are treasured with a love too eternal to be broken. Think of the gaze of Christ as He looks upon you now, not with the weight of condemnation but with the gentleness of a love that has always seen beyond your weakness, beyond your struggles, and beyond your pain, for He sees the beauty of your soul, the light within you that He Himself created, and when He pleads for your heart tonight, it is because He longs to keep that light safe, to cover you with mercy, and to draw you into peace that will never fade, no matter what storms may rise around you. Every wound you have carried has been gathered into His care, for He does not turn from your pain but enters into it, carrying it upon himself with compassion so complete that it transforms even the deepest scars into places where his glory shines. And this is why his call tonight is so serious, because he does not want to see you walk without his healing, without his comfort, or without the safety of his presence. For his love has already paid the cost to bring you peace, and he longs only for you to accept what he is offering. The Spirit of God is near you now, moving over your heart with gentleness, whispering truth into the spaces where lies once took root, and planting seeds of hope in the places where despair once reigned, for his desire is not only to comfort you in this moment but to carry you forward into a life where you know, without doubt, that you are loved, chosen, and never forsaken. And the urgency of this night is a reminder that his voice is not distant, but alive, pressing close to your spirit and calling you by name. There is a seriousness in this hour because choices carry weight, and the Lord is pleading for you to remain close to him, for he knows that without his covering the world can break even the strongest spirit, but with his love wrapped around you, nothing can overcome the peace he gives. And this call is not to bind you but to free you, not to burden you but to lift you. For his love is the only force strong enough to turn your pain into strength and your sorrow into songs of hope that will never be silenced. Type 2121 if you trust God's plan for your life. The angels bow low in reverence as his love flows toward you, for they understand the depth of his devotion, a devotion that chose sacrifice rather than see you lost, a devotion that placed your life above his own comfort, and a devotion that remains unshaken even now. And when you feel the seriousness of this message pressing upon your heart, know that it is not meant to crush you but to awaken you, to remind you that you are surrounded by a love that cannot fail and guarded by a mercy that will never leave you. Archangel Michael delivers this word with unwavering strength because he knows the danger of ignoring it, for the shadows of life are heavy and the enemy of your soul is relentless, but the love of Jesus is stronger, brighter, and eternal, and when you open your heart to him tonight, you will find that the despair which threatened to drown you will be swallowed by his peace. And the loneliness that pressed so hard will be replaced by the comfort of his presence, for he is nearer than you imagine, and his arms are already reaching to hold you. So let this night become holy within your soul, let it mark the moment when hope takes root again, when fear begins to fade, and when sorrow begins to loosen its grip. For Jesus is not only offering you peace for this hour, he is offering life everlasting, and when you surrender to his love, you will find that every burden becomes lighter, every shadow grows weaker, and every wound finds healing, because his love is not just eternal, it is present now, alive now, and strong enough to carry you into a tomorrow filled with light. Every part of your life has been seen by his tender eyes, every silent tear has been known, and every moment where you thought you were invisible has been marked by his nearness, for he has never turned away, never stepped back, and never stopped caring. And tonight his voice trembles with urgency because he wants you to know that his presence is not far but near, not weak but strong, and not fleeting but eternal. And if you will allow him to enter the depths of your pain, he will fill it with peace that nothing can take away. The angels who serve at his command move swiftly tonight, their wings stretched wide as a shield of protection, their voices declaring truth into the atmosphere around you, because heaven knows the value of your soul and the danger of leaving it unguarded. And this is why the message comes with such seriousness, because the love of Christ is determined to keep you safe, and He will not allow the weight of sorrow to crush you when His arms are open to lift you higher than the shadows. Imagine the face of Jesus as He looks upon you now, not with disappointment but with infinite compassion, and in His gaze there is a devotion that sees the beauty of your soul beyond every scar, beyond every wound, beyond every mistake, for His love is not based on perfection but on choice, and He has chosen you, treasured you, and longed for you, and when He begs for your heart tonight, it is because He knows how fragile life can be without His presence, and He cannot bear to see you walk unprotected into the storms ahead. Every scar you carry has been kissed by His mercy, every wound has been touched by His care, and though the world may have turned away from your pain, He has leaned closer, gathering your tears as though they were jewels, and holding them within His Spirit with such reverence that they become part of His own story of love, and this is why His voice carries urgency, because He longs to take the heaviness from you, to turn sorrow into peace, and to prove that nothing you have faced has been wasted in His hands.